Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It is Tuesday. I want to say hello to all my new subscribers. Well, in an unprecedented move, Keir Starmer is even suggesting now that Andrew should give evidence to U.S. authorities over what he knows concerning Epstein. Royal pundits on all the broadcasts are saying, and I mean, this cracks me up because we've seen it all along, he proclaims his innocence in this matter. He should just tell him what he knows. I don't know why he doesn't, and just, put an end to this. I'll tell you, unless he's taken forcibly, I don't know, to the US or the UK even courts, it's not going to happen. I cannot believe, especially now, with all kinds of damaging info coming out, all the emails, all that stuff, the books, that these pundits actually believe nothing sketchy ever happened, Andrew. Sure, I'll admit, the bad business deals and everything else, and sure, he's naive, childish, and stupid, and got caught up in honey traps because of his kink, right? Sure. That doesn't mean that just because they caught him, that he's not accountable for his own actions. You don't spend over a decade with somebody that does those kind of things, go in and out of all of his houses and his island and his airplane, and you've never seen a hint of anything, don't know anything that's going on. Well, now what we know about their relationship and the massages and the girls, and the emails we'll play again later, we know about Andrew's behavior as a trade envoy, 40 girls in 40 days, that Thailand story, paid for by the taxpayer, by the way. Yet let's suspend disbelief and give Andrew the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry. You just can't do that anymore. The press, really, they've got to come to terms with something. There's a reason he's refusing to cooperate with authorities. Let's put it that way. And the palace is handling it badly. There's been criticism of the palace, laying a lot of the blame really at the feet of the Queen. And then so you have that as kind of a sidebar in the news, another distraction. Oh, well, we shouldn't be blaming the Queen. This is clearly, Charles is doing. Charles brought them back in. Charles is the one that wants to be the great convener. Don't go after the Queen and her good name. Well, sorry to break another bubble, but, it has to be said. That's not wrong. It's been documented that the Queen was not only aware of what Andrew was doing, but when it was brought to her attention by diplomats and intelligence officers, she brushed it off. She covered for him. They brought damaging information to her attention and nothing was done. In fact, the Queen's advisors were interested in Epstein in a financial advisory kind of way. The Queen was at the point where she was, through trust in Andrew, whatever, I mean, they would have entertained taking advice from Jeffrey. This has been documented. I don't know if any such meetings ever took place or not, but even that, and I mean, don't forget though, I mean, everybody, oh, the Queen, she never put a foot wrong. Well, I'm sorry, don't forget the Paradise Papers. And earlier in 2012, the whole Jersey tax avoidance thing. I mean, it was shown that the Queen herself had her accounts in Jersey and in the Cayman Islands, all offshore, taking advantage of the tax havens. I mean, I tell you guys, I mean, this is something, especially the hardcore loyalist Brits, that the monarchy is as close as God as they figure they'll ever get. I mean, but you gotta know this, whether it's money or sex, the royals don't lack scandal, and they've been very good at keeping secrets and covering it up to now. It's more difficult now with the internet and camera phones such as it is. Even though the royals, I mean, they have a lot of exemptions. They don't have to tell you how much tax they pay, for example. They're exempt in a lot of ways from freedom of information requests. They don't necessarily apply, and even when documents do come out, and I mean, you hear this from historians and authors like Andrew Lowney, really terrific historian and author, right on his game, the difficulties he's had getting information released, and then notwithstanding actions by the palace itself to like block his research. Yeah, documents are blocked, redacted, even destroyed to keep information hidden. Stuff like the wills, you know, those are hidden for 100 years or something like this. Different things. Oh, well, it can't be disclosed until 75 years after everybody's dead or something like that. You know, for example, there's a lot of talk about what Andrew got up to during his time as a trade envoy for Britain. And I mean, the Queen knew all about this because all the diplomats and everybody that was involved and intelligence was involved, his personal protection officers, everybody knew what was going on. They knew what he got up to on his trade trips, the side deals, the shady characters. We've heard a lot about this now. And more info is starting to drip out about these kinds of things, but still a lot of it is blocked. And how they do that, for example, like what Andrew got up to during different trips and things like this, well, they can claim that due to state secrets and national security and that kind of thing, they simply can't release the documents. Now, to understand the level of pushback, just listen to any of these guys. Like, listen to any interview with, for example, Norman Baker. He's from Republic, the group that wants to do rid of the monarchy. Author and historians like Andrew Lowney, which I quoted a lot because he's very authoritative. Now, this is why, even though Andrew is disgraced, that the palace will protect him. You know, if Andrew ever had to answer any questions, it would be apparent that the palace was complicit all along, that they knew about it, right? Royal, that's why Andrew, for now anyway, this is what they're trying to do, is keep him under wraps on one of the royal estates. He'll be catered to and cared for. So he'll keep quiet, right? Unless the pressure brought on the palace to give him up, to the authorities kind of thing, let it happen. Unless that intensifies, right? But again, in the press, all the while, the pundits are baying for Andrew's blood. The king knows that if Andrew is thrown to the wolves, he'll take them all down with him. Andrew knows the secrets. So does Sarah. And believe me, there are secrets. Less royal protection. Andrew's options are limited. We've got what? We've got exile to Abu Dhabi, for example. It would have to be somewhere with no extradition treaty to the US or Britain, somewhere that he could be safe from ever getting into the grasp of the authorities, right? For example, in, I think it's Abu Dhabi, he's been offered a fully staffed mansion. So that's an option. And the Pelison's options under Charles are limited too. Keep Andrew and Sarah under wraps, basically pay them off to keep them quiet, whatever it takes to make this go away. That's all Charles is trying to do. But I'll tell you, it's not going away. Andrew's not the first freak amongst the royals. He's not the only one with shady financials and questionable friends. Or Sarah feel desperate, and if Andrew or Sarah feel desperate enough to blab, and there's a lot of talk about that this is what, Sarah is fixing to do, right? Well, the damage to the royals will be just unsurmountable. But keep in mind what I have been saying for quite a while now, that William is starting to run things from behind the scenes, right? Now, William isn't going to allow this to destroy the monarchy. He is steely and brutal. Reminds me of Philip. If it's a question of Andrew, his future, William will act without hesitation. It's an ugly thing to have to mention, but it has to be said considering the fate of Geoffrey and Virginia. If I was Andrew, I wouldn't want to be advertising fragile mental health at the minute. That's giving them an opportunity. Wouldn't that be something? But that's what we've seen time and time again happen to potential witnesses of this or that. The strain of it all just gets too much for them, and then they act, right? So what's it gonna be? A property on royal grounds? Exile? If they just tuck Andrew away like they're planning to do here, say, well, we've taken his titles but he's still got his horses and his shooting and and his whatnot and the mansion, if this never gets resolved in the public mind and still hangs over William's head, so that's not really a solution to just tuck him away. Exile would work. But I don't think Andrew really wants that. He doesn't want to be pulled away from everything he knows. At least if he can avoid it. And the other option, well, you wouldn't call it an option, but wouldn't that be something? And it seems to be something that happens a lot to inconvenient witnesses of this and that, you know? It'd get Andrew out of the way. Would sure send a message to Sarah and others. Just saying, it's not like it's never happened before. We'll see what happens. Hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I want to know what you're thinking. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, everybody.